Right, so I'm joined here by the opposition to North Ferriby fans. Gentleman by the name of James, another one by the name of Martin, both who have roles within the club of sorts, respectively, and we're going to touch on that very, very shortly. I want to start and say today, gentlemen, you have both come a long, long way to be here in terms of non-league level. Because a lot of the non-league pyramid is played obviously more locally. It's done by sort of regions and counties, whereas the league that we're in today stretches a little bit further. North Ferriby, you guys are East Riding the Yorkshire, so you're right up touching the northeast a little bit,
Yeah.
really, aren't you?
On the edge of, yes, yeah, we're more east than we are north, maybe to an extent, but yeah, it's one of the longer trips we do this year, certainly.
Yeah, it certainly is. So you say one of the longer trips that you do, is this the longest, or is it sort of second and third on the list? Where are we?
It's somewhere close to. I mean, we were Ashington the other week, which was 2.5 hours sort of from the East Yorkshire. So
What was the travel time today?
just over an hour and a half to sort of 2 hours, maybe, sort of around there.
So a fair whack then.
Yeah,
You
so
travel here by sort of train, or are you driving,
on,
boys? Or
on the coach with the team and a few other
right, okay.
supporters,
So there's an
which is
actual
good.
supporters coach on today
Yeah, yeah.
to guys to be in here. Do you know rough numbers of what we got here today?
Um, not too sure. I mean, a good smattering. There's usually a good hardcore of sort of 30-ish plus.
Decent.
It feels around that.
Is that the average when you're travelling, or do you get more sort of at the closer ones? Or
Generally tends to be a little bit more kind of close to home. You get a few more, I'd say.
okay,
But yeah, it's a good. It's always a good hardcore following, certainly.
fantastic, great. You're doing a little bit of a media piece yourself here today, so we're not the only ones here today. Proper Football are not the only ones here doing a bit of coverage today. I know you don't work obviously with the club directly. It's sort of your own branch. It's your own thing. Just talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, it's just amateur photography, really. I mean, I've kind of always been into that sort of thing, and since sort of last sort of 5 or 6 years, I've kind of come down and done odd games here and there, local non-league mainly, but Ferriby's always had a place close to my heart, so yeah, kind of
Yeah.
that's why I'm here today, really.
So you're a local lad,
Yes, yeah.
based up in the area. Where does your connection with the club start?
Goes back to the late 90s, which is the old incarnation. It's North Ferriby United, part of the Phoenix Club. And it was just, I mean, I'm a Hull City fan. That was my kind of way in with football.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Hull City, respect it.
Yeah, but my granddad used to come down to Ferriby, brought me down, and that was the kind of instilling of it. I've kind of reconnected with it much more post COVID and the new Phoenix Club that kind of that launched, and yeah, it's been fantastic.
That's a lot. That's a big thing that we're seeing now, especially in non-league football. The word, or the term, sorry, Phoenix Club. A lot of clubs are going out and having to be brought back. A lot of the time, by the way, by the fans. A lot of the time by the fans. Is that the case? I'm not too clued on the history, if I'm being honest. So I'm going to look to here for some knowledge.
Martin might be a slightly better place than I am with the
Okay.
history side of things, but yeah, the people that were involved with Ferriby when I started going founded the Phoenix Club. It had changed ownership a couple of times and led to its demise, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was that kind of family element, the kind of collective element that really appealed to me, and
Okay.
yeah, I just kind of rediscovered my love for it a little bit, really.
I love that. Love that. Whoever I speak to, certainly when we're talking non-league football, especially when you compare it to something higher up the pyramid, people are gravitating towards this level of football, and the reason for that, and correct me if you have a different opinion, is because of that community feel, that family feel. You walk in, there's not as many people here for a start as what there is obviously at that kind of
Yeah.
level, right? So you walk in, you're known. You know
Absolutely.
everybody,
Yeah.
especially if you hey, nice one, lads. Especially if you're trying to build something yourself, obviously from a media perspective. I know it's just a hobby, and
Yeah.
this is a hobby for me as well. And I really love that, and I'm glad that you guys share that. And obviously, we'll talk to you in a second, Martin, and I really want to touch on that with you. But just to finish off with you, James, obviously we touched on it a second ago. Obviously, you got your own little media thing going on.
Yeah.
We're gonna plug it for you.
Yeah,
We're gonna put it there for you.
Bless you, thank you.
Where can we find you?
Yeah, well, I'm on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it
X, Twitter,
nowadays,
yeah.
at JR_Tiger, and I do photographs of whatever non-league game I'm at, really. So yeah, I put together an album, and yeah, it comes out okay. It's a hobby. It's very much on the amateur end of the spectrum, but yeah,
I respect it.
appreciate that. Thank you.
100%, I respect it. But yeah, like I say, so JR_Tiger on X, and you've got another little thing going.
Yeah, well, it's slightly more successful. Crap Nancy's football, which is also mainly through Twitter. That's kind of something that was born out of collecting VHS tapes, which is very obsolete now, and
Oh
probably
God,
people of a
yeah,
certain generation won't
gone.
even know what I'm
I
talking
remember
about.
him. I remember him. Yeah, yeah.
But
Winding
yeah,
it back and all the way.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my
So
God.
that's been something that's kind of been on the go for a good few years now, and has got a bit of traction on social
Amazing.
media. So and
I'm
it's
going to
and
personally
another,
take a bit of interest in that on my own back. So
yeah.
I really like the setup. I really like what you
Yeah,
explained to me. I really like the idea.
and well, the idea is it's just clips of footballers from the
Mm.
'90s doing silly things, daft things, funny things. The
Yeah, yeah.
'90s was such a
Good.
perfect decade for it, and it just kind of like registered with me from
90s is
yeah,
when I think that's the back end personally of when the top level
mm,
certainly was proper.
yeah,
To plug the name, that's the back end of it, isn't it?
yeah.
It's the back end.
I agree.
That's where football at the top level went like that, isn't it? Surely,
It's
right?
the last decade when football didn't take itself so seriously. I think ultimately, and that was kind of the juxtaposition that I was kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
thinking of when I set up the account. Really, so.
Nice, like it, like it. That was Crap Night is football. We can find you on all social platforms, can we?
Pretty much, yeah, yeah, yeah. Blue Sky, sort of Facebook, whatever's going, I'll be there in some capacity. Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic, great. Okay, cool. I want to come to you now, Martin, because you have got a bit more of a direct connection with the club itself, right?
Well, sort of, yes. I volunteer at the club. I do. I sell raffle tickets. I go down to the club on pretty much a weekly basis. Do
Okay.
jobs down there. I've
Lovely.
done, and I do cleaning up after the match, basically. Yeah,
Respect it.
yeah. So
But I've done a piece recently. If anybody that sort of follows the platform is going to be watching this, we were up at Nuneaton not so long ago, and I spoke to a gentleman there who was also a volunteer at the club, and he talked to me about similar roles to what you're saying, like putting the flags out, putting the cones out, clearing up, emptying the bins, and just being basically part of the fabric of the club. Non-league foot, that I love that. That's me all over. I'm absolutely, and I like to champion people like you. So when are you still doing it regularly? Are you there on a match day
yeah,
regular or?
yeah. We do quite a bit of pre-season work as well before the season starts to get the ground ready for and the terracing ready for the new season.
Okay.
We have a lot of volunteers at Ferriby, luckily, because we get pretty good crowds.
Mm,
And after each game, I go around and do things like emptying the bins, as I say, picking the flags up, just keeping the
appreciate
place generally tidy. And I think
appreciate that.
the volunteering side of it is just something I never thought I would do years ago, but now it's really is part of
Yeah,
my
you
life.
know what? I take my hat off to people like you and yourself, James, as well. I really take my hat off to you guys because without you guys, it doesn't run, it doesn't tick, and it isn't there for people. You know, we're all human beings at the end of the day, and anybody can look at a job and say, well, that's not a worthy job. But for people like you can talk about your money men at the top and all the rest of it, but it's people like you that I love in football because without you guys, as I say, it just doesn't run. It just doesn't run smoothly and I don't think we can take anything away from you. So I've got a lot of respect for what you do.
Well, thank you very much. I think you're right. We go to a lot of grounds, and we see they haven't got a lot of volunteers, and you can tell that from the state of the grounds.
Yeah, yeah.
The guy coming down here now, this is the chairman.
Oh,
Les,
fantastic. Well, yeah, got the chairman.
yeah, there he is there, and he knows there's a lot of volunteer, a lot of goodwill towards this club,
Yeah,
and
I hope
a lot
so.
of volunteer
I hope
spirit.
so.
And
I hope so.
without that, I don't think the club would get to. It wouldn't be as good as it is actually.
No, absolutely.
The pitch is excellent at Ferriby. I don't know if you've ever been, but
No, personally, no.
it's a sort of ground is pretty good for this
So you're
level
going to
of
have us
football.
up at Ferriby then?
Anytime you want.
Anytime we
You want.
want. That's on camera. That is. There you go.
Anytime you want.
That's recorded. I'd love to come up and do a
Yeah,
little piece for you guys.
it's
But that's absolutely great. And just to sum up, what does North Ferriby Football Club? What does that mean to you?
well. It's. I was saying on the way down here, if somebody had said to me years ago, you would be keen on watching Ferriby and you'd be going to places like this, Carlton, and I've been all over Bishop Auckland this year and various other places, and I would never have believed them because I was a Manchester United season ticket holder, and I had
Okay.
a season ticket that was £1,000 a year.
Wow.
A season ticket for me at Ferriby costs about £80 for the year.
Need I say more?
Exactly, it costs only £5 for me to get in.
Hmm.
There's just I know all the players, I know their names, they all say hello.
You're part of the family, right?
Yeah, I know the fans. I know, I walk in the ground and it's I hear this, I hear that,
I like
and
that.
it's
Love
just
that.
fantastic. I don't know. I went past Ferriby's ground. We've got a railway line going past our ground, and I went past one day and I saw this pitch and I thought, that looks all right. And I
Okay.
read about them in the local paper,
Yeah, yeah.
and
How long ago was that? Where did your
that
connection
was
with North Ferriby start?
probably about in the 80s for me.
Oh wow, so okay, so long
Yeah,
standing then.
yeah,
Fantastic, brilliant.
fairly long time
So
ago.
prior to the Phoenix Club and all the rest of
Yeah,
it, so
yeah.
you were there and
We
okay,
won
great.
promotion as the Phoenix Club to the National League, and it
Wow,
was a
brilliant.
case of, what have we done?
Yeah, yeah.
Because it was a too big a step, really. But
I
we
understand.
steamrolled it. We beat Fylde, I think, in the final, and we beat Boston. Boston have gone on to do great things.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they're doing
Fylde
the
have
thing.
gone on. They're in Northern. Is it National League North now?
Yes,
I think
yes, I believe so.
Um, we went that we were then disbanded completely. The club was disbanded completely over a debt of about £7,000. North Ferriby United disappeared in the High Court, and we became North Ferriby FC,
Gotcha,
and that's
gotcha.
where we've gone from there. And we're getting crowds of 450, 500 at home.
Really good numbers for
Even
good numbers for the level, guys. Gotta
even
say.
even a bad day, we're getting 350. Even when the weather's
Fantastic.
really bad,
Yeah,
so we're
yeah.
getting good. And it does affect us if Hull City are playing at home as well.
Yeah, yeah.
But apart from that,
But any non-league club can say there's a bigger club down the road from them, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So non-league, you are competing with football league. But
Yeah.
I like we touched on, more and more people are gravitating to football at this level, and I think you're going to give me a reason for that in a minute because United season ticket holder.
Yep.
The reason for me is clear. A lot of our followers, obviously, they're non-league focused. Do you know what I mean? And it's so clear. But from your perspective, you were a Man United season ticket holder, which there's probably a phenomenal queue of people trying to get a season ticket for a start. You paid a serious amount of money. You knocked it on the head. Briefly, why?
Well, for me, obviously the cost going through to Manchester from where I live just outside Hull, up between Hull and Ferriby.
Yeah.
It was costing me probably £100
Mm-hmm.
in fees and fares, that sort of thing. And I just thought, you know what, this is ridiculous. And I was sitting in a different seat virtually nearly every match.
Even though you were a season ticket holder?
Yeah. What I would do sometimes, I knew the lad who was next to me, but then there's other times when I would move seats. And I just thought, you know what, I'm not enjoying this anymore. I didn't know any of the players. They were so cosseted. All right, there are people that have watched. I've watched United from the 70s.
Yeah.
When you could just walk up and pay. Now they want £1,000. I'm getting emails now saying you haven't recently applied for a ticket for the Europa League match against Sociedad.
Yeah, Real Sociedad is recently.
They want £66 off me for that.
Yeah, get out.
And I just do you know what?
Get out.
I can have a full season's viewing.
That reaction says it all.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's what I keep getting emails now saying. We've noticed that you haven't applied for a ticket.
Yeah, jog on. Absolutely keep it away because, like I say, it's nice to have a living example of somebody that's knocked it. We contacted regularly by people that are going to games at a non-league level as opposed to sort of the higher level, and the cost comparison, the gulf is enormous. But one thing that I find, and one thing that's been reported to me on a regular basis, is the entertainment value. There's no difference in the entertainment value. You can still watch a fantastic game of football. You can still come to a ground like this and enjoy yourself. In my opinion, more. You're a living example of somebody that's knocked it on the head. Man United season ticket holder. They're still going week in, week out. They're not very successful at the minute. We won't go there. What would you say to somebody that's still spending that level of money when they've got something, dependent on opinion, much more cost effective and much more sort of heartwarming to go and do, much more value in? What would you say to somebody that's still doing it?
Well, my word to them would be basically just try your local non-league team because it's a fantastic atmosphere. You can see today there's people down here. I don't know if these are Forest fans down here or what. But,
yeah, there's a few that have been to the Forest game that have come here after.
I think that, and it's just great to watch a game of football. When I'm not watching Ferriby, like I didn't go to Ashington last week, I go and watch even park football. And things like that. I've been to
can't knock it.
I've been to Northern Ireland recently and watched Glentoran and Cliftonville.
Wow. You get about a bit then.
Took a couple of days ground up in there, thanks to James.
Amazing.
He put me onto it, and you know, I just love watching football at this level. I wouldn't now change it. I really wouldn't. And I still follow Man United, watch them on the telly
Look
now
at the
and again,
results and
and look at
yeah,
the
yeah,
results,
yeah, yeah.
and on the radio and that sort of thing. But this is the level.
But this is your bread and butter, right?
Oh, this is it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
For me,
love
it is. For me, it is.
Love it.
That's
I
why
can
I've come
see
down
that. I
here.
can
That's
see
why I've come down here today.
the excitement and,
Yeah.
and the passion. It's just written all over your face,
Yeah.
and I absolutely and yourself as well. I absolutely love to see it. But look, gents, it's been a real pleasure speaking to you both. I appreciate both.
Thank you.
Appreciate your
Thank
time,
you very much.
and thank you very much. We're here, as I say, Carlton Town versus North Ferriby. We got a prediction from a Carlton Town fan earlier. We are halfway through the game now, 0-0 half time. How do you boys see it ending up, James?
Maybe 1-0 Ferriby. I think there's not a massive amount of quality in that first half, so we'll see. We'll see.
Okay, cool. Martin, what do you think?
Well, I personally think it'll end 0-0. This, I don't
0-0.
think we'll score.
It's got 0-0 written all over
It
it.
has really. It's a very bobbly.
Try to be optimistic.
But look,
Yeah,
we're going to see when.
I'll take 1-0. I'll take 1-0.
I'm sure you would. Listen, when this goes live, we're going to see how that ages. But again, gents, thank you very much for your time, and I really, really appreciate it. And we're going to see you guys soon up at North Ferriby, right?
Thank you. Yeah.
Great, lovely, nice
You
one,
come
gents.